Recently, I was perusing social media for an easy ground beef and potato recipe, and I came upon this easy, beefy, sloppy Joe skillet recipe, and that's what I'm making today. I'm going to show you my version, which differs, but it's all good, and it's easy, one pan and on the stovetop. Here we go. To start, I am going to add cooking oil to my preheated pan, and I'm just going to add enough oil to cover the bottom of the pan. And I've already peeled and chopped 1.5 to 2 pounds of potatoes, and I rinse them well in cold water to remove most of the starch on the exterior of the potatoes, and I'm going to saute these. I'm also going to add like a half teaspoon to a full teaspoon of sea salt, and I'm just going to mix and saute. And what I'm going to do here is cover with a lid, lower the heat slightly, and let it cook for 10 minutes. And I am going to stir in between the cook time to make sure I can get crispy golden brown exterior on the potato. Once my potatoes are cooked through and they're tender on the inside and crispy on the outside, I'm going to remove them from my pan. And I'm just going to let them hang out on this baking sheet until I need them again. In the same pan, with a little bit of cooking oil, I'm going to add half of a small onion diced and half of a bell pepper diced. And I'm going to saute well. Here I'm going to add a sprinkle of salt and saute until the onions are translucent and everything is fragrant. Here I'm going to add 1 pound of lean ground beef. This is like a 90 to 10% meat to fat ratio. I'm just going to break that apart, and you can season how you like. I'm going to go with about 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon of this all-purpose seasoned salt. You can scale it back if you want. Here I have garlic powder, onion powder. I'm also going to add some smoked paprika. I'd say like a teaspoon of each works. I'm eyeballing today. And some cracked black pepper. Now I'm just going to break that apart and continue cooking and sauteing the ground beef. By the way, I'm going to be mentioning this throughout my videos. Some of you already know this. I do not have a Facebook, so if you see this video on Facebook, do not interact with it. It's not me. I do not post on Facebook. Okay, ground beef is done. I'm going to add like a 1/3 cup of beef stock to pick up any fond in the pan. I'll probably add a little more. In all, this recipe, have about a cup of beef stock or beef broth handy. Okay, so after this is all combined and simmering, I'm going to work on the sauce. Here, I'm working with a spicy ketchup. You could use regular, and I'm going to go with something like a cup. I am eyeballing everything. I do that a lot because I like to taste and adjust as I go along, but start with like 3/4 of a cup of ketchup. Here I'm adding about 2 to 3 tablespoons of mustard. Again, up to you. I'm going to shake in some of this jugo de Maggi, or you could use soy sauce. Here I have about 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar. I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon, and like I said, you'll want to taste and adjust things to your preference. So I'm going to give this a really good mix and combine well. So I've given it a taste. I'm going to add the rest of that dark brown sugar. Here I'm adding some smoked paprika, onion powder, and I'm going to give that a mix. I'm also going to add a little bit more of that beef stock just to get things combined and simmering. And now some more of that jugo Maggi. Again, the saltiness, sweetness, spiciness is up to you. Give it a good mix, and this is ready. So now I'm going to add just a handful of my shredded cheese. I'm working with about 8 ounces of shredded cheese. Cheddar cheese, Colby Jack cheese works for this. I'm going to mix this in and get things melty. And now I'm going to add those crispy cooked potatoes. And in the recipes that I saw on social media, I saw 2 videos and they both air fried the potatoes. You could totally do that, but I kind of feel like I just don't want to clean the air fryer, so I'm going with the 1-pan version. Now I'm going to top it with the rest of the shredded cheese and garnish with some scallions. I just chopped 2 small scallions. And I'm going to just cover this with the lid, let the cheese get melty. It's not going to take long, and then it's done. And you'll want to lower the heat. I did have mine kind of bubbling at a high heat, so I do want this to get melty. And once it's done, you can serve. This is a very easy, flavorful recipe if you've got a pound of ground beef and potatoes. It's a great way to stretch a pound of lean ground beef, by the way. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it. And thanks for watching.